This is a presentation of the Sports Source Digital Network, presented by Hearthside Bank.
Blaze Pink could be coming to the state of Tennessee, and poachers could be paying bigger fines. Next. Welcome into Sports Source Wild. I'm Bob Hodge along with Joe Justice. And today we're going to be talking about a couple of changes in state law that could be coming. It's at the very beginning. A couple of bills have been introduced down in Nashville. One, we've all worn blaze orange for decades.
Yep, big game hunting, small game hunting.
It's about time that maybe we branch out because blaze pink may be legal coming next hunting season. Also, I think at times we've all sat there and worried about, man, this guy shot a deer and he got off with court costs and $25 and it just didn't seem right. Well, poaching fines in the state of Tennessee could be changing by another state law that's been introduced. So we're going to be talking about that today. And before we get to it, I want to talk about a couple of things happening across the state. One is out in West Tennessee in Grand Junction, where the Ames Plantation for the 126th year is going to be hosting the National Bird Dog Championship.
It's huge. If you're a bird hunter or a bird dog owner, this is huge. This is the Super Bowl.
It is the Super Bowl.
Bird hunting right here in Tennessee.
And it is the biggest field trial, like you said, in the United States, right here in Tennessee. I've been to it one time, years and years and years ago.
I have never been. It's on my bucket list because you go on horseback and follow the braces of dogs, watch them get scored, and go through the course.
If you're good enough on a horse, you go on horseback. But other people don't have. You don't have to be on a horse.
I'm not the best with horses.
I used to be pretty good, but I'm getting worse, just like with everything. But anyhow, so that's happening beginning next Monday out in Grand Junction. Fantastic. I mean, once again, fantastic event. And then something coming up.
I was going to say, if you're a setter man, there is still hope for us because usually it's dominated by pointers. I think there was a setter one that last year or 2022, I can't remember.
Yeah.
So there is a glimmer of hope for guys that
And I
had
remember
setters.
years and years ago, we talked about that.
Oh, yeah.
That pointers dominate the entire thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which you know, it was news to me because I've never had bird dogs. I've had a couple of dogs that retrieve ducks, but I've never had a dog go out and hunt birds with. So
it's a different kind of feeling. It's a whole level of enhancing the sport when you introduce a dog to it. It's just they're a connection of you. And
I think my duck dogs were extensions of me.
Well, that's true.
Because they didn't get around very good either.
They sat in your lap.
So, and speaking of duck hunting, this coming up weekend is the youth duck hunt all across the state of Tennessee.
Right.
And if you're 16 years or younger, find somebody that can take you. I know that the Tennessee Wildlife Federation, who we partner with, they host a huge duck hunt out on the western side of the state. It's a fantastic event. Has been. I think this is the 17th year they're going to do it. But you don't have to be out in West Tennessee. You can find you a farm pond someplace. But if somebody's got a 16-year-old kid and they've never duck hunted, it's the perfect time. And quite honestly, you know, around here, go out and consider it a win if you see some ducks.
Well, it is a good chance to get the youth out there, especially with this weather break. Hopefully there'll be some birds here, but you'll definitely have some open ponds to get on and open creeks.
You've got open water right now, but I tell you what, there is a pond near my house that I check for ducks every time I drive past it, and it's usually almost every day. This year, the most I saw at one time was 3.
Wow.
I mean, and in the years past, you've duck hunted with me.
Well, yeah.
You know where I duck hunt at, and in years past, you go by there, man, there's 150, I mean, there's 100, look at all this, there's 4 or 5 different species, 3. And they were all mallards, and for all I know, they've got mailboxes in Powell. So, you know, it hadn't been a great year for duck hunting on this side of the state. But the TWF has taken a bunch of kids over to the west side of the state, and this year has been pretty good over there, so good luck to them.
That's a phenomenal opportunity for the young hunters to get out there.
Yeah, I mean, and have a chance to actually see ducks.
That's true.
Whereas you're over here. But what we're going to talk about mostly today And I found this really interesting because I hadn't even considered this, but a bill has been introduced in Nashville that would legalize blaze pink. A lot of the reasoning behind this is it's aimed at women hunters. I think over the past 20 years, maybe longer, there's been pink fishing rods that you can go anywhere that sells fishing equipment. You're going to see pink fishing rods.
Pink head guns, pink BB guns.
Pink everything, pink rifles.
Yep.
And, you know, I've never given much thought to, okay, does this bring more women into the sport? But pink, blaze pink, I about said pink blaze orange, but blaze pink, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to.
Well, I mean, if you look back historically, Wisconsin was the first state to allow for blaze pink.
Really?
And
you hunt up in Wisconsin.
I do, and that's how I know that random fact of blaze pinkness. I'm just not sure. My feelings are a little mixed on this. I've talked to several female hunters that I know, ladies in the outdoors. And I see it good for garnering the youth in there, getting a younger female hunter, like comfortable with going. They have a blaze pink, they have pink lined camo, that kind of thing. But if you talk to the very serious ladies involved in the outdoors, the ones that hunt, I mean, I know ladies that kill more turkeys than me. The feelings are kind of mixed on that. I'm not sure they're going to go rush out and buy all new blaze pink gear or blaze pink hat, blaze pink vest. So,
well, it was funny. After this topic came up, I went on Amazon and looked, and you can buy a blaze pink vest, just a very plain, just minimal vest to hunt in, and a blaze pink cap,
right,
for $14.99. And so I started looking at more blaze pink camo that's out there, because everybody has seen, and I've even got a little bit of it. It's blaze orange, but it's got some camouflage.
The camo blaze, yeah, which is not legal in all states.
It's not legal in all states. I've got a blaze orange Tennessee hat that is orange and white. You know, so there's been decorative items, I guess. Is that the way you put it? Fashionable items might be the way to put it.
Accessories.
And I like to accessorize. You know, I know you do too. And even when you hunt. So I was sitting there and I was thinking, okay, is this going to be a big market thing? Well, turns out that blaze pink has been sold in the state of Tennessee. It just wasn't legal if you were hunting and you need the 500 square inches. Right. It wasn't legal for that. But
for your blaze requirement.
Yeah.
Because in Tennessee, you have to have 500 inches. So a cap and a vest will cover that.
And so I just got to thinking about, is that really, are you going to be in the woods and blaze orange when you see it? Somebody's moving. I've hunted places, some public land. I've even hunted private land where people, you know, get close to the get close to the boundaries, and you see that blaze orange, you see it moving, and you immediately know that's somebody else that's hunting.
Well, it establishes a safe zone. You know you're not going to swing over and shoot that way, or if the deer goes that way, you got to watch. You're not going to shoot quite that direction.
Is blaze pink going to have that same immediate reaction?
Well, I looked at some things. I think it was the NRA. It's very similar in the color spectrum to blaze orange. So the theory is that you can pick it up. It's an unnatural color, just like blaze orange. There's not too many blaze pink things out there. You're going to be able to discern that, hey, that doesn't look right. I need to look at it closer with my binoculars instead of my gun.
Yeah.
Or I might not want to shoot over there because I'm not sure what that is. But I don't know. But the premise of increasing utility in the women hunters or getting more women involved, I'm just not sure is there. Again, I see the utility of it. It's good to have options. I mean, why not? If it could keep somebody from a hunting accident, have at it.
And see, that's kind of where I'm at on this thing too. I am why not? at the same time, okay, I haven't seen it out in the wild. I haven't seen it in the woods. So, like you said, I probably will I said pink. I probably will pick up on it when I see it.
Right.
But it's just going to be kind of a little bit of a different feeling, next year. Now, I hunt mostly private land these days. And unless somebody's trespassing, there shouldn't be anybody else there that I'm going to be seeing.
But it happens.
And, and I think anybody can attest to that since the blaze orange laws went into effect, it has been a wonderful thing for hunters. Did a little quick checking on hunting accidents. Still surprised how many hunting accidents happened where somebody wasn't wearing blaze orange.
Exactly. Maybe that's your trespasser.
Well, that's what I was getting
I'm not going to wear blaze if I'm going to trespass.
No, if I was going to go out and we're going to work into poaching here in just a little bit, and trespassing usually leads to poaching. But I've known people who own their own property, big pieces of property, and they didn't like the idea that I'm going to be told what to do. I'm not wearing this blaze orange.
Well, in Tennessee, if you're on your own property, you don't have to wear blaze orange. That's one of the our laws. If you own it, if it's your land, you don't have to wear it.
And in the same breath, they talked about problems with poachers.
Right.
So to me, if I'm having a problem with a poacher, once again, we're going to talk about it more here in a minute, then why am I want to go out there and say, I don't have to wear this, I'm perfectly good? I think I would probably paint my pants orange. I would look like a Tennessee football fan going to a ball game. I'd have on so much orange.
It's funny. I see the utility of it. I used to bird hunt quite a bit, not so much now. Big game hunting, bird hunting, wear blaze orange. If you're hunting in a thicket or hunting in areas where things are moving when you're bird hunting, you want to know where your partner is. You don't want to shoot that way. But I see a ton of guys. Same thing with big game hunting.
Yep.
If I'm walking across the field and I see blaze orange, I know I'm going to back out maybe and go somewhere else, or I'm going up the ridge and see somebody across the holler. I know I'm going to go somewhere else. But it's amazing to me how many guys, like you were saying, don't want to wear it. Look at on any of the social medias, all of these pictures, the big grip and grin, and no blaze orange. And it immediately brings out the social media game wardens, because they're like, hey, you're not using blaze orange, or your kid should learn better. So they start piling on. It could very well be a private landowner on their own land, but a lot of guys hate wearing blaze orange, and I guess they're going to hate wearing blaze pink too, but they immediately take it off.
It's like how many guys are going to go the blaze pink route.
I don't know.
I mean, are there some guys out there that say, hey, this is going to be a little bit different? I mean, I've got tons of blaze orange. I got a trunk full of blaze orange I keep for people who may want to go on a hunting trip with me that don't hunt very much. So I've always got a little something extra. So maybe I should be throwing some blaze.
Well, I've always got
if it becomes the law. It hadn't become the law yet.
Right.
So maybe somebody sits up there and says, no, we're going to stick with the orange. But
I've always got an extra vest in the truck, because and when you're turkey hunting, a face mask, and when you're deer hunting, a blaze orange vest. How many times you get with your buddy and like, I left my vest at home.
I forgot this.
You got an extra one. But to me, it's always been like a changing of the seasons. Like, not really a rite of passage, but when I went from bow hunting to its gun season and I put on that blaze orange, I mean, when I was younger, I used to look forward to it. I'd hang my vest up.
Well, see, it's
2 or 3 days before season, just so I put my blaze orange on. I'm going gun hunting.
It's actually kind of sad for me when I put my deer hunting stuff away these days.
Right.
And I've had a blaze orange vest for several years. It's still got a few more years to go. But I always, at the end of the deer season, I wash it in cold water and fold it up and put it away nicely. And then next year, and so that is kind of a passage thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be doing it with blaze pink here in the future.
It's funny you mentioned washing your blaze orange vest. I've got one from like 1983 that I got free in a giveaway with chewing tobacco, and I still wear it. It doesn't have a zipper on it. It ties in the front. It's like a little lace.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just. just the tradition of wearing blaze orange. So
I actually have an old one that I've had too, but I put it away because it was starting to get a little on the ratty side.
well, I washed mine for the first time last season, so
Really?
it didn't fall apart. It's
Well,
still
see,
there.
mine, I was afraid, and so it's like, you know what, you deserve to be put away. It's amongst all that stuff that when I die, my kids will be
Memorialized.
going, why'd you keep this?
This thing's
You know.
ragged.
So anyway, Blaze Pink could become a law. It is a bill that's being supported by our partners in this, the Tennessee Wildlife Federation, and you know, every week like to call them out for the good things they did, and got some numbers right here that I think is pretty impressive. Last year, because of the Wildlife Federation, you had 2,000 acres of forest that was restored.
So they went and planted trees.
Well, no, not necessarily just planting trees. I
Okay.
mean, they do everything from working on the streams to the types of plant life that grows there beside the trees. I mean, it's pretty impressive stuff, but 2,000 acres, I mean, that's pretty good. And speaking of planting trees, planted 15,000 trees last year
Okay.
through the Wildlife Federation. And then a couple of weeks ago, we talked about Hunters for the Hungry. 147,000
Phenomenal program.
422 pounds of venison in 2024.
Phenomenal
I
program.
mean, that comes out to over 500,000 servings.
I tipped my blaze pink hat to the guys that donated.
Yeah, there you go. You'll be tipping it if it's legal here pretty
Well, that's
soon.
true.
So that's the Tennessee Wildlife Federation. If you want to get in touch with the Tennessee Wildlife Federation, tnwf.org. But I want to say, if you want to get in touch with us, sportsourcewild.gmail.com is where you can send us an email, and what we want to hear from you is everything from comments about this show to ideas for this show. And I promise, I said it before, this time I'm going to promise it, we're going to start a Sports Source Wild Facebook page. So if you got that big deer, that big fish, that
Turkeys
first of a
coming
kind
up.
dunk, we're gonna be putting these things up, and want people to tell us stories.
And it's actually at gmail.com, sportsourcewild@gmail.com.
There you go. So we want to hear from you. And one of the things we'd like to hear about, the state of not poaching in Tennessee, but how poaching is handled in the state of Tennessee. And another bill has been introduced that would raise fines. And here's where I got things a little bit backwards. I thought it was going to raise fines from a minimum, but what it is going to do, it is going to put a $500 cap on how much you can be fined, which I think some people are going to sit there and say, now wait a second, why should it have a $500 cap on it? But I think what it is going to do is some incentive to see fines, which I didn't know this. You can poach a deer in Tennessee and pay a $50 fine.
Well, I mean, yeah, technically.
You know,
You can also not buy a fishing license, and the ticket costs less than the license.
yeah.
So I mean, but I think revamping the laws for poaching and is much needed. Now this sets a minimum, right? So
No, it's not going to be a minimum fine. It's going to set the fines up to $500 for poaching. And I thought, when I read that, I thought, gosh, that seems a little light to me. But the thing that I forget about, maybe other people forget about too, is Tennessee has now had a restitution law on the books for a while.
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
And you and I were talking about, we both hunt in other states, and it just seems like a lot of court cases, and the TWRA has to work hard to make a lot of these court cases. They make a case, they go to court, and the judge goes, you know what, I don't have time for this. It was a deer. $25 fine, $200 for court costs.
It happens.
And that's the end of it. Well, even though restitution is not if you kill it, you're going to pay restitution, that is another option that Tennessee had. And that is what I would like to see a little bit more of, because the numbers are not small.
Right.
If you kill a doe
Or an antlerless buck.
or an antlerless buck,
$1,000.
$1,000.
Wild turkey.
Wild turkey.
So wild turkey, antlerless deer, a buck smaller than 8 points is a
wild hog
minimum restitution of $1,000.
is $1,000. If you get into killing an elk, and a story from just last year, it started in 2023. A hunter shot 2 elk. One of them was a bull. One of them was a cow. Another hunter, this was shot on public land. Another hunter heard the shot, just thought he'd wander over there, see if somebody needs some help dragging a deer or something. Met the hunter coming out of the woods, and the hunter told him, said, yeah, I shot a couple of deer.
A little bit of a big deer.
The hunter that was going to help with the drag thought something wasn't quite right, and so he got a license plate number, and TWRA went to check it out. TWRA went out to the area up at the North Cumberland where the hunter was hunting, and he didn't find 2 deer. He found 2 elk. And so the man, and he pleaded guilty last year, $10,000 in restitution.
For each elk or just one?
For both.
For both.
For both. $10,000 in restitution. I'll learn how to speak English at a later date. And he had his hunting license revoked for 5 years. So when I see something like that, okay, that's getting in there.
That's
now,
putting a dent in it a little bit. Make you think twice.
It makes you think twice. I would like to see, if you kill an elk, I'd like to see that restitution be even higher than that. I think, and you get into, if you kill a big buck, okay, there's a minimum fine for killing an antlered buck, and then you get into paying extra for how many points it was. And so there are mechanisms out there that you can pay a price.
Yeah, and it graduates up. The larger the rack is, the bigger the animal, that kind of thing.
You poach a real trophy, and you're going to pay, hopefully, a real price. But once again, this restitution is not mandatory. And maybe that would be a direction eventually the state goes in.
It would be nice to see.
I know
when Ohio went to this in the early 2000s, they had it to where, like you're saying, there's a set fine, and then the restitution was kind of up to the wildlife committee. I forget the name of their committee, but I know the one example, a fellow killed one that was in the 180s, and it ended up costing him $12,000. So 180 deer is a monster.
Yes.
So they have a set algorithm, this size times a certain amount per point.
Well, and
for a scoring point, like Boone and Crockett point. Now, in the proposed regulations or restitution I've seen, it's more based on number of points. So like under 8 points is $1,000, and
right.
between 8 and 10 is 15, and there's different gradients. There's actually several levels.
And quite honestly, I don't have a problem with that.
No.
I would just like to see, if you're caught poaching, and are there sometimes mitigating circumstances? There can be. I mean, think about it. If you're hunting someplace on private land, the private land I hunt, I know where the property boundaries are, but there are people who hunt. Okay, I'm not sure about this field. I'm not sure about that fence line, etc. There can be mitigating circumstances,
right?
And I understand that.
Your Onyx map may be a little bit off on the boundary,
but for the most part, I think when you're poaching, you're poaching. And that's the reason I went and I looked once again about people who have paid restitution. Some duck hunters out in Tennessee, West Tennessee, a few years ago. Early duck season in Tennessee, it's 5 days. Me and you have hunted it together on several occasions, the early wood duck season. You get to kill 2 ducks per day.
2 wood ducks.
2 wood ducks. There were 11 guys out in West Tennessee that over that 5-day season killed 169 wood ducks.
My first thought is, where were they hunting?
Yeah.
But that's a lot of ducks.
That is a lot of ducks.
That's
well,
a lot.
They ended up paying $2,000 in restitution each. Now once again, the wood ducks, you get into the federal area
Right.
with that too, but $669 in fines and $2,000 restitution. Okay, once again, that is something that's going to make people think.
Exactly.
And I think that's where you've got to get into this a little bit more, and that's the reason I would like to see getting the penalties up to $500. I think is great, but I'd like to see those minimums come up, because you're still at the discretion of judges who may be sitting there just thinking, "Hey, my court. I mean, we're handling the guy that broke into a grocery store. We're handling the hit and run, and this guy that killed a deer, he's just not my biggest
Yeah, let's give him the minimum and get him out of here." So,
and so you just end up not paying that much money. But anyway, those are two bills. Blaze Pink, been introduced in Nashville. You've got bigger fines for poachers, been introduced in Nashville. And so we're going to watch and see where those things go.
Restitution.
And then, hey, just because there's not a $500 fine yet for shooting a deer, okay, you shoot one big enough, it's going to cost you a little bit more than that.
Could get way in your wallet. And I mean, some states are tougher than others.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too. When you start throwing in the losing your hunting license.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't realize you lose your hunting license in Tennessee, you're not hunting Alabama, Kentucky, Georgia, and a lot of other states.
Yep, that's reciprocity that they have out there with the game laws. I think every state except for Hawaii and one other participate in that.
And I don't do a lot of hunting in Hawaii.
Not yet. I'm going to have to go get a turkey over there, though.
So I didn't even know they had turkeys.
They do. They got Rios.
See, this is always education.
I get a tan and a turkey.
Get a tan and a turkey. But anyway, Joe, everybody, Sport Source Wild, we're glad you came. We hope you come back. And remember, if you want to send us an email, sportsourcewild@gmail.com. And if you want to get in touch with the Tennessee Wildlife Federation, just a fantastic organization, tnwf.com.
Yep, find out everything.
And if I got that wrong, Mike Butler is going to tell me about it. So, Joe, we're going to be back, and we'll do another one. Thanks for joining us on Sport Source Wild.